All right, let's get rolling. This is what we're working with today. It's a rear shock, 135 mils. Pretty, it's not a huge task, but really effective. So basically I just grab a hex tool and put it through the eyelet so I can crack that cap off, get a little leverage. And unless you want to wear some oil, I would say hold that vertical at this point because we need to empty the oil out. It's critical you use a Paw Patrol container too. It's the only thing that works. All right, turf the oil. All right, let's get rolling. I like to start on the bottom side, and I like to take the cap off the bottom of the shock rod. And from there, the spring will slide off. Then the little dust booty. Because we need to access the innards of the shock body today in order to limit its travel. All right, get that well and emptied out. I should say thanks to everybody for the attention this video's gotten thus far. It's done quite well for a small YouTube channel like this. All right, so grab your box wrench and we're going to remove the nut on the top side of the shock. It's on top of the piston. Grab some needle nose. Be careful not to lose this nut because it's smaller than M3, and I know I don't have something to replace it here. It's kind of uncommon. So I use the shaft to push the piston out of the shock, and there it is. Just showing you that there's a metal washer on the bottom side of the shock. That goes bottom side down first. So this is our the star of the show today. This is some airline tubing or aquarium tubing or some nitro fuel tubing that we'll use to limit the travel of the shock. I decided to cut a piece 10 millimeters long. So I've also been asked, how do you know when you need to shorten a shock? Well, this basically it all pivots on the drive shaft. If your shocks are too long, then you'll have an increased angle, if you will, on the drive shaft. Therefore, it makes it harder for the drive shaft. This is, in my opinion, guys, that when it rotates, it's not as smooth. It's not of a fluid motion. And then also when you add other factors like torque, speed, dirt, gravel, jumps, it doesn't give room for the dirt to get out of there, and it gets kind of, I find that those lobes on the half shafts there almost are touching one another, if that makes any sense. Again, this is my opinion, guys, and I found when I shortened the shocks, because I had this increased angle on the drive shafts, it definitely got better right after. Here's the drive shafts on the truck. Now, I don't have a shock on there, so the control arm is hanging freely, if you will, all the way down. So here's the angle. This is me showing it with the hex wrench. So there's the bottom part of the right side of the half shaft, and there's the angle of the drive shaft. So that is more, that's the most that you'll want to have. You'll want to limit it just a little bit like that, basically. So the 10 mils that we've taken out of the shock, hopefully we'll just, that way it can move a little more freely and not have that exaggerated angle on the drive shaft. I'm just trying to, hopefully that explains how I come to this decision, guys. Thanks a lot. All right, let's resume. So here's the tubing. I am just showing you what it's going to look like, the shock pieces within the body. Don't put this together just quite yet. That's what we need. Depending on basically every style of shock, that's what you're doing. You're limiting its travel with a piece of tubing. So now let's build our shock. So the shaft will go in first. Now I'll add the tubing. Critical. That's what limits. That's going to limit our travel. Metal washer side down for our piston. And now add that nut. Now I can't get my fingers in there, so I get it started with the needle nose pliers. Kind of like that. And I finish off with the box wrench. That's essentially it. We're going to fill it up with oil, and I will prove to you that the 10 millimeters that we added of tubing has actually limited the shock and shortened its length. It's important to get all the bubbles out of the oil. This is more a video about the length of the shock and not so much how to do this properly, but I figured I would just finish the process at this point. I often, when work some of the bubbles out, I actually just will prop it up in something vertical and walk away for 30 minutes if I have the time. If not, who cares? That's it. It's cool because the ZD shocks actually have a bleed hole. So I run the shock rod end up to get the air and excess oil out. Just like that. Hopefully you can see that. And I tighten the cap. That to me looks mint. All right, let's finish the reassembly. So now the booty can go on the bottom. It's a good time to get any dirt and grime out of there. Slide it up on the rod end. Now the spring, and now that stop, which kind of just clips on and stops the spring from coming off the shock rod end. Really cool. There we go. There we have it, guys. Here comes the, basically, we're 10 mils shorter than what we started with. 125 mils. We started with 135. Thank you for watching.